You want to know why I've got a smile on my face? I'm looking inside the filler neck on a 300 SD fuel tank. That's a W126 chassis, and it's got to be the cleanest I've ever seen. I mean, a lot of times you'll see rust in here, you'll see junk, from algae forming, but oh man, I just love it when I find a super clean fuel tank on these old Mercedes, particularly on the diesels, So I've got this tank out, I got it on the bench. I thought it'd be a good time to just do a quick review of some of the problems you may run into when working on these old cars and working around the fuel tanks. Number one is smell. Particularly diesel smell. It can kind of creep up on you. So if you have an old diesel and you're smelling a fuel smell, it may be coming from something related to the fuel tank, okay? First off, there is a rubber seal located right on the neck, and there's a drain. If you overfill or you spill fuel into in behind the fuel door, and that drain is plugged, you're going to get smell. And if that gasket is old and dilapidated, then you're going to have residual fuel leaking down inside the trunk. It doesn't take much fuel, by the way, just a little bit of fuel, and you could have some smell that eventually creeps up into the cabin of the car. There's a drain, there's another drain hose here that connects to that drain hole in behind the fuel filler door, and if that drain's plugged, you can have fuel smell. Or if the drain hose is broken or cracked or has fallen off. That's real common. So you can get in the trunk, you have to pull the panels, but you want to check that drain hose. If that drain hose is cracked, you overfill or spill fuel out in here behind the door, it's going to go into the trunk. The other problem I've seen, and this one is not very common, but I've seen fuel just seep out of this seam in the tank. It might be so minor, but once again, it could be just a small amount of fuel. It could be gas or diesel. So if you're smelling fuel in the trunk, you're not sure where it's coming from, you might want to inspect the seam. Now this usually requires removing the tank from the car for a full inspection, okay? And then of course, only once have I seen this weld joint on this vent tube crack. And that of course only happens if you completely fill the tank. You'll get a little seepage out of there. This is the vent line on the W126 that goes out the bottom. We'll talk a little bit more about the importance of that later. And then finally, this is the fuel tank sending unit right here. This is located on the upper part of the tank. In the 126, 123, it's on this side. The 116, it's over here, but it's very similar. And access to that is really only by my special socket. You might want to go in there. You're going to have to, from the 126, you have to remove the upper rear seat to get to this. But you want to check the tightness of that sending unit, because it could be leaking out of a shrunk O-ring right here. Once again, that's very subtle, and you'd never see it from inside the car. You'd have to open up the cover and look at the sending unit and see if there's any wetness around there. Now I'm going to flip this tank over now, and we're going to look at a couple other things on the bottom. Okay, you're looking at the bottom of the fuel tank in a W126 sedan. It's a little bit different from the 116 and 123. Look at this where the vent hard line comes out, and it connects to a hose. So if you're ever removing one of these tanks, you want to make sure you disconnect that vent line. But over here, you see there is the outlet. This is the fuel outlet, and this fitting right here is for fuel return. One of the common problems I've seen is that these rubber hoses, these exit hoses, they exit the tank and they go into a hard line which goes up to the engine compartment. They tend to rot. You can see here this one's already cracking, but they'll weep fuel. I've seen them where they won't really drip that bad, but they'll weep fuel, just enough fuel that you'll get a fuel smell in the car. So you want to check the tightness of the screen here. This is the fuel tank screen. You want to check the tightness of this. You want to check and make sure this vent hose is connected. If a vent hose is fallen off or rotted, you could be getting some residual fumes up into the cabin from a malfunctioning vent hose. Now, if you're working on your tank, particularly diesels, you probably should pull this screen out. This screen can get, I've seen these really get plugged up. So if you're experiencing fuel starvation problems or lack of power in your older Mercedes, this is one thing you want to really check. You want to drain the fuel tank and take out the fuel tank screen. This is common on all Mercedes, okay? They loved putting these primary filter screens in the fuel tanks. And once again, look at that, my special socket gets on this. Now, some people have said, oh, you can just get under here and get a pair of channel locks, or you can get a big spanner wrench, crescent wrench on this. Well, you can't. You see how tight this rubber is? So this is sticking up into the body. There's not enough room to really get anything up in there. So you can be really frustrated trying to get these tank screens out without this socket. So that gives you kind of a quick look at one of these fuel tanks and some of the problems related to it. So are you experiencing any fuel tank smells that you haven't been able to find, or are you experiencing some power loss problems that have been rather difficult to diagnose? You might want to check out the fuel tank. Now, I have a huge amount of resources on my website that can help you deal with your own fuel. You don't have to take this into a shop. Okay, for instance, I have a complete video instruction manual on my website on how to remove one of these fuel tanks. Sometimes, particularly on these older diesels, the fuel tanks get so dirty that you can't clean them out. And if you do, you have to remove it and take it somewhere where it can be, boiled out and then resealed if it's badly rusted. So at some point, you may have to remove a fuel tank, and it's not all that easy. But I go in my on-demand video, I go step by step through the process of, how to get this tank out of your older Mercedes. The other things we carry are we carry a new, better seal for the fuel cap. Now, believe it or not, a bad seal on the fuel cap can lead to fuel smells inside the car. We also carry a new rubber seal for inside the gas door. And, I can't stress enough how important this socket is, both for the sending unit and for the fuel tank screen. We've got brand new fuel tank screens. These are not expensive. If your screen is all mucked up and real bad, I'd replace it with new. We also have hose kits for these tanks, complete hose kits with the right fittings on them. So when you get them, that they're going to fit and they're going to work, and including quality hose clamps. We don't send out those cheap hose clamps either. So the other thing that I've just finished that I know a lot of you are going to find very interesting is I just finished filming yesterday a complete video instruction manual on how to take these fuel sending units apart and fix them. That's right, fix them. Because, a lot of these are causing problems, I know firsthand, and a lot of them are not available new anymore. So this is something you need to do, and I would highly recommend, as I say in this video, that you do this on a preventative measure. In this video, I show you how to make a special tool to get these apart. I show you the whole process to go through and troubleshoot inside the unit, what to do to clean it, to get it to working properly, and to get it back in the car. So that's going to be real handy. And if you're watching this video before January 15th, 2015, then the video is not going to be available yet on my website. In fact, I'll be going home tonight to edit this video and get it ready to get it up on my site. So I think there's some other things that we have related to fuel tanks. The other thing is we have a few good use, we do have a couple of good use fuel tanks available on my website. I will be selling this absolute pristine 116 diesel fuel tank. So if any of you need a fuel tank, you also might want to check out my website. What I'll do is just look at the description below in this video, click on Show More. I'll give links to all the things that I've referred to in this video, including some other things that I have not mentioned. And I know that if you check those things out, you'll be able to fix your own fuel tank problems.